I'm Jane King at the NASDAQ market site. Lumber liquidators stock rockets after a big bear backs off.
I'm Patricia Wu with the New York Stock Exchange. All eyes on the Fed. Are we going to see the first rate hike in nearly a decade? And what would that mean for the market?
I'm Remy Blair from San Francisco. Kitov Pharma upped its market cap after its recent IPO. Kitov's arthritis drug met success in a phase 3 study. And the FAA just announced new drone rules.
Welcome to Small Cap Nation. I'm Jane King at the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. Lumber liquidators holding stock rocketed higher today after a famed short seller backed off his doomsday scenario for the wood flooring company. He said he had closed out his position that is negative on the company after he wrote an article in SeekingAlpha.com. Whitney Tilson, who founded the hedge fund Case Capital Management, made it public that he held a large short position or bearish bet on lumber liquidators. He said he had covered that. Now, in the article, Tilson said he realized that the executives were just sloppy and naive, but not evil. The stock closed at a 6-year low in early August, following a more than 80% plunge in 6 months in the wake of a 60 Minutes report that alleged the company's China-sourced wood flooring contained dangerous levels of a cancer-causing agent. Well, Neothetics shares plunged after the microcap drug maker said its abdominal fat-reducing treatment failed in a late-stage clinical trial. Neothetics shares sank 78% to $1.60 on heavy volume. The company said its study of Lipo 202 did not show significant improvement in primary or secondary endpoints to reduce abdominal bulging due to subcutaneous fat. Well, Snyder-Lance's $1.9 billion deal to buy Diamond Foods has cleared an important hurdle. The antitrust waiting period before the Federal Trade Commission has expired, and Snyder's-Lance is pushing on with the acquisition. Diamond shareholders must still vote on the sale, though. Snyder's-Lance announced in late October it wants to buy Diamond in a stock and cash deal that includes the assumption of $640 million in Diamond debt. Now, Diamond specializes in packaged food, primarily nuts. Diamond would fit with Snyder-Lance's better-for-you segment of its snacks. Kennametal shares dropped after the advanced materials company said it is cutting its fiscal 2016 outlook because of demand declines in end markets, especially China. Kennametal shares fell 20%. The company said it expects as much as a 30 to 60% decrease in its previously announced earnings outlook for 2016. Well, lots of small cap companies making news today, so here's a look in today's small cap wrap. Shares fell and weak guidance for the first quarter. The tech company reported earnings and revenue that did beat Wall Street forecast. Xinsheng Equity said it did plan to take the company private. Heiko increased its dividend by 14%. Kennametal says earnings may fall 30 to 60%. Dave & Buster's CEO Stephen King is selling 22,000 shares. And also, their lockup has expired. Well, Arch Coal said it would take a 30-day grace period under its agreements with holders to continue discussions with creditors to restructure its balance sheet. It said it would make a $90 million interest payment without default under these certain agreements. The company, though, has defaulted under loan terms, and it said it is in active discussions with its lenders and does not anticipate them taking any remedial action. Well, theater chain AMC Entertainment is naming Starwood Hotels and Resorts interim CEO Adam Aron as its new chief executive. He replaces the interim CEO Craig Ramsey. Aron headed Starwood as interim boss since February. He's also the former CEO of the Philadelphia 76ers, and he's been chief executive of Vail Resorts and Norwegian Cruise Lines. And SiriusXM shares are climbing today after the satellite radio operator said it has signed a 12-year agreement to keep on broadcaster Howard Stern. The company is planning to launch a venture in video programming with Stern as part of this new deal, and he did announce the news on his morning show today. Turning to the Fed, we'll find out tomorrow if the Fed will raise interest rates for the first time in nearly a decade. Will it mean more volatility in the market? Patricia Wu is at the New York Stock Exchange with more.
Hi, Jane. I'm here with Alan Valdez, and we're going to talk about that. So, Alan, all signals from the Fed have been pointing to a rate hike this week, tomorrow, in fact. Is it definitely a go?
I would say it's 90% a go. I mean, they've telegraphed this. We've been waiting almost a decade for this. Personally, I don't think it's a great idea to raise right now when you have GDP at 2%, when you have unemployment, even though it's ticking down to 5%, the jobs that they created have been very weak. When you have a stock market where 75% of the stocks that trade here are trading below their 200-day moving average. So there's still a lot of weakness out there. But they're going to raise. I think there's 90% chance that they will raise.
So what will that mean for the market? Can it stand alone since it's been propped up by easy money, or has this already been baked in since we've been talking about it forever?
You know, that's a great question. Initially, a quarter of a point raise is not going to do anything. I mean, if it's one and done, it's like, why did you do it? But it's going to be the wording after that raise, that 230 speech she gives. Are they going to continue? I mean, are they going to do 3 this year, 4 this year? That's when things will get antsy. And at the end of 2016, you're not going to see much. You're not going to see anything, really. I mean, you'll see fluctuation, of course, but you're not going to see much of a real change in the market structure. But it's those other rate hikes that will affect the emerging markets out there, commodities. So that's when it'll kick in, but not at a quarter point. But if that wording goes, well, we're going to watch it and, you know, maybe do 3 this year, I don't think she'll ever say that. That's too much showing her cards. But I think if they start raising, or the market thinks they're going to keep raising, that's when you'll see the market start to sell off. I don't think it can stand alone. I mean, if you look at commodities, they're falling apart. If you look at, obviously, oil is getting lower every day. I think, like I mentioned, and you mentioned, this has been flourished by corporate buybacks. Now, if it's more expensive for the corporates to get money, then they're not going to be buying their stock back. So we got to watch this carefully. If it's one and done, I don't know why she would do one and done. It's useless. But the worst thing to do, I think, even more than raising, it's doing nothing. Because if she does nothing, she's basically telling us, hey, things are much worse than she's been telling us. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think she has to raise, yes.
So the risk of not raising greater than actually raising. Looking for that word gradual as well in that 2:30 speech tomorrow. Also wondering, some have said, though, that this could actually boost lending to small businesses because banks will be better compensated for taking that risk. Do you agree?
I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much of a stretch. I think if, again, you're not going to see much of an increase in your credit cards. Well, credit cards you'll see right away. But I think in lending, that takes about 2 months to filter through the system. So you're not going to see that right away. I think small companies, I mean, if they have to pay more for money, they may hold back a little. So I don't buy that theory. I think if you have to pay more, small companies are having a tough time as it is. I mean, we saw Black Friday sales were kind of weak. Overall sales are kind of weak around the country. Like I said, 75% of these countries are trading below their 200-day moving average. And if they have to buy back some of their stock, if they're paying more to buy back their stock, they may hold back. That may push stocks down further for the small caps. So overall, I don't buy that theory. I think cheap money is what flourished this. Obviously, if it gets more expensive, you don't see that. So no, it's the cheap money that's moved this market.
Thank you so much. All right, back to you, Jane. You heard it here. Cheap money has moved this market. Now the Fed looks like they've backed themselves into a corner and they have to raise, and we'll find out for sure tomorrow.
We'll take you to San Francisco next when Small Cap Nation comes right back.
Guys, I got the jerseys. Oh, nice. El Nino. Aquí. Spray Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Don Ovan.
Think that's me?
You guy. It's $40. Can you cover that?
I'll send it to you right now. Done.
Okay, got it. So hat trick Rick, he's the best player on our team. You get the ball, you give it to him.
Great. Rick.
On your phone, online, on the go, Wells Fargo makes it easy to get banking done.
All right, Don, you're on. Nope, just kidding.
Doug, you've been staring at that for a while, huh? Listen, TD Ameritrade has former floor traders to help walk you through that complex trade, so you'll be confident enough to do what you want. I'll pull up their number. Blammo. Let's get those guys on the horn. Ooh. Looks like it is time to upgrade your phone, Douglas.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade. You got this.
Let's go, Serena. Fight, fight. Come on, fight. Can't stop me now. Come on, Serena.
It took tennis legend Serena Williams, fencing champion Tim Morehouse, and the world-famous Rockettes years to master their craft. But it took them only moments to master paying bills at Chase.com, depositing checks at Chase ATMs, and transferring funds on the mobile app. Technology designed for you, so you can easily master the way you bank.
Shares of Ketov Pharmaceuticals are rallying on strong volume. Its lead drug candidate was successful in a phase 3 trial. Why are we seeing such a robust reaction in the market?
Hi, Jane. Ketov Pharmaceuticals are up nearly 40% on Tuesday. The clinical stage biopharma announced that KIT 302 met the main goal of a late-stage study. Now, KIT 302 are NSAIDs, and the drug is a combo pill that treats joint pain as well as high blood pressure. And Ketov tested its lead drug candidate in 152 patients with osteoarthritis. This is a degenerative joint disease that is caused by aging joints, injury, as well as obesity. And according to the Arthritis Foundation, 27 million Americans suffer from this condition. As for the high volume rally today, well, data from the study showed that combination KIT 302 significantly reduced blood pressure and pain compared with a placebo. With regular standalone painkillers, elevated blood pressure is a side effect, and that in turn can raise heart problem risks.
Well, there are many painkillers on the market. What makes Ketov Pharma's arthritis drug different?
Ketov's arthritis drug reduced pain in patients with osteoarthritis without increasing the risk of heart disease. As we all know, many of the most commonly used painkillers come with labels that offer severe health warnings that raise heart-related risks. Now, given that KIT 302 addresses pain and high blood pressure, well, that's a big deal. There's no single medication that treats both OA pain and hypertension. Also, the trial results show that KIT 302 reduced hypertension more so than compared to Pfizer's amlodipine bisylate drug alone, and many drugs that treat osteoarthritis pain also bring the gift of hypertension.
Ketov Pharma just listed its shares on the NASDAQ last month. What's the outlook for the company?
That's right. Ketov debuted in the U.S. last month on the NASDAQ. It completed its IPO of American Depository Shares. This Israel-based company is in the business of developing combinations of existing drugs in late-stage development. So there is the regulatory advantage that there is an expedited approval process for the company's current products. Slashing trial costs and time is crucial for many drug candidates. Now, the company Ketov plans to apply for a new drug application, or NDA, of KIT 302 in the second half of next year. With an approval, it hopes to launch in the summer of 2017.
Straight ahead, we head across the pond for a look at what's happening in the European markets when Small Cap Nation comes right back.
Good. Very good. You see something moving off the shelves, and your first thought is to investigate the company. You are Type E. Yes, investment opportunities can be anywhere. Or not. But you know the difference.
E-Trade's barcode scanner. Shorten the distance between intuition and action. E-Trade. Opportunity is...
Before they sat down, one more time, just for themselves. Before the last grandchild graced the stage. Before Katie and her husband hit that rough patch. Before Kevin finally came home and the first grandchild arrived. Before the sons-in-law, daughters-in-law, and Brad's brief brush with the law. Before the second British invasion. Before Katie, Debbie, Kevin, and Brad. Before they became a family. There was a connection that started it all and made the future the wonderful thing it turned out to be. We know we're not the center of your life, but we'll do our best to help you connect to what is.
Sometimes the present looked bright, sometimes romantic. There were tears in my eyes, and tears in my eyes. And so many little things that we learned were really the biggest things. Through it all, we saved and had a retirement plan, and someone who listened and helped us along the way. because we always knew that someday the future would be the present.
Every someday needs a plan. Talk with us about your retirement today.
How have the European markets been behaving today, Graham?
Well, Jane, I'll point that out to you in just a minute, but we're down at Old Shoreham now, which is the old toll bridge, 17th century, 16th century, 17th century, and behind it Lancing College, which is what the English call a public school, which means it's a private fee-paying school. And to answer the question, if we look over here, swinging round, not too quickly. The answer to the question of an English country town is churches and pubs. Okay, and we have here the Red Lion pub, which is an old coaching inn from the 1600s on the principal road north, which is now of course much busier road, and off onto the side there we have the Church of St. Nicholas, which is a church built by the Saxons originally, somewhere around the 800s, and subsequently with a Norman tower, because the Normans like sticking towers and everything, when they invaded in the 1066, and this was put up about 1100. So we have the pub and the church, and any good English market town has a considerable number of both, usually 3 times as many pubs as churches, as you might expect. After a brief surge yesterday morning, the markets generally moved off again, and by the close only Paris was very slightly in the green, the rest were all in the red. This morning on the open, the market surged open and up, so maybe common sense has set back in and people are looking for profits opportunities, and at this time everything's in the green quite strongly. It may also be that some various data points came out today which are quite encouraging. Whilst the euro continues to flirt with the 1.1 level, closing last night slightly below and bouncing around it today. A lot of data out today. UK wise, data in UK inflation was showed a positive spike. Basically after 2 months of decline, the rise was about 0.1%, not exactly enough to think about a rate rise, but at least in the right direction. And as the Bank of England had said, it's ready to follow through when it gets sustained inflation. Maybe this will be the start, but it still looks like 2016 late for that. In Europe, the ZEW indicators economic sentiment in Germany increased for the second consecutive time, up to 16.1 from 10.4 last month. So that's a pretty good jump. And basically market expectations were about 15. And the sentiment index for the euro area also rose about 5 points from 28 to 33. So positive signs of encouragement, whilst employment basically increased by 0.3% for the 3 months to September. So we haven't got the latest things yet, which is not really enough to encourage the economy. So that's it for today from Small Cap Nation Europe. This is Graham Brown signing off.
We'll take you to San Francisco next when Small Cap Nation comes right back.
Everyone works hard for a reason. Working together, we can help you prepare financially for when 2 becomes 3. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far.
You want to be the best investor you can be. You want to cut through the noise of an overwhelming amount of analysis. You want the insights that will help you decide which ideas to execute and which to leave behind. You want your trades executed in 1 second or less, guaranteed and routed with institutional quality technology. Look no further. Open an account and find more of the expertise you need to be a better investor.
When I got the phone call that we had received the grant, I held my breath.
To have a program like this is a big reward.
Being a Chase Mission Main Street grant recipient is a game changer.
One of the biggest surprises in starting a small business is the number of hours we should work for the first 20 years.
One of the great things about this grant is that it is going to let us invest in some additional inventories.
It's going to allow this business to go to the next level.
Being a recipient of this grant, we can't be thankful enough.
It's a dream come true, and I'm still in awe.
The FAA announced drone registration rules. How does the new government policy affect consumers who get a new drone for the holidays?
If you've had a drone on your wish list, this will be the first holiday season that drone laws could affect you. Once you unwrap that drone you've been waiting for, make sure to check the weight of your unmanned aircraft system. The FAA and the Department of Transportation announced its new registration requirements. If you get a drone that weighs more than 0.55 pounds, you'll have to register it in a national database. Now, the rules take effect on December 21st of this year. Licensed drone pilots must be over the age of 13, and it will cost $5 per drone owner. The FAA says it will refund the fee for drones registered in the first 30 days of the site's availability through January 20th of next year. Keep in mind that if you get a drone before that date, you will have until February 19th of 2016 to comply with the rules. And more importantly, the license requirement applies to drones flown in the national airspace.
Well, delivery services made headlines. Big retail names tease consumers with videos of packages arriving at your doorstep soon after shopping online. Are we any closer to drone delivery on demand?
Well, we may be inching closer. Once we start getting our online purchases delivered by drones, retailers will have to keep an eye on battery life. Now, sales of drones have been growing in the U.S., so for the makers of small unmanned aerial systems for consumers, changes are afoot. The commercial drone market is in its infancy, and it's not just manufacturers but providers that will play a hand. When we take a look at the current drone technology, battery life is a major issue. Well, one company is ahead of the game. Intelligent Energy is a British firm that plans to show off its hydrogen fuel cell powered range extender for drones. It's akin to an added battery pack for drones that uses hydrogen fuel cells, and the extender should extend the use of drones by hours if it works as promoted. The use of hydrogen fuel cells could allow it to recharge a lot faster than regular batteries, so the time to juice up could be slashed from several hours to only a few minutes.
So what does this mean for the makers of drones? What names should we be watching out for in this space?
Well, some players to keep an eye on include GoPro, Dajiang Innovation Technology, 3D Robotics, and AeroVironment. The civilian drone market is seeing demand, so that's good news for these companies. Drone owners in the U.S. will need to consider registration and, of course, insurance. And make sure to read the fine print. Registration will have to be renewed every 3 years. A task force made up of tech giants and stakeholders in the drone space have a few recommendations as well. Now, before selling a drone, owners need to remove their registration number from their aircraft. And some of the fines are also hefty. Civil penalties could include a fine of up to $27,500, and criminal penalties include a fine of up to $250,000 and 3 years in jail.
Listen up, investors. What to buy, sell, or hold. Our daily segment on what the experts are recommending when Small Cap Nation returns.
Guys, I got the jerseys. El Nino. Aquí. Spray Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Don Ovan.
Think that's me?
You guy. It's $40. Can you cover that?
I'll send it to you right now. Done.
Okay, got it. So Hat-Trick Rick, he's the best player on our team. You get the ball, you give it to him.
Great. Rick.
On your phone, online, on the go, Wells Fargo makes it easy to get banking done.
All right, Don, you're on. Nope, just kidding.
Doug, you've been staring at that for a while, huh? Listen, TD Ameritrade has former floor traders to help walk you through that complex trade, so you'll be confident enough to do what you want. I'll pull up their number. Blammo. Let's get those guys on the horn. Ooh. Looks like it is time to upgrade your phone, Douglas.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade. You got this.
Let's go, Serena. Fight, fight. Come on, fight. Can't stop me now. Come on, Serena. Oh.
Back to the top. Here we go. 2, 4, 5, 6. Whoa, stop. Let's go back. 1, 2. Whoa, we're going to stop there. I bet we can do it even better.
It took tennis legend Serena Williams, fencing champion Tim Morehouse, and the world-famous Rockettes years to master their craft. But it took them only moments to master paying bills at Chase.com, depositing checks at Chase ATMs, and transferring funds on the mobile app. Technology designed for you, so you can easily master the way you bank.
Lots of activity in today's buy, sell, hold action. American Axle was cut to sector perform at RBC. Chicago Bridge raised to outperform at Robert Baird. Connect One Bank rated a new buy at Maxim with a price target of $23. Gaming and Leisure rated new outperform at JMP. Golden Ocean cut to underweight at Morgan Stanley. Hortonworks was rated a new neutral at Guggenheim. Integrated Device rated overweight at Pacific Crest. New Relic was upgraded at Guggenheim with a price target of $50. Parsley Energy raised to outperform at RBC. Post Holdings rated a new hold at BB&T Capital. Rexford was cut to market perform at Wells Fargo. Safe Bulkers cut to equal weight at Morgan Stanley. Southwestern Energy raised to overweight at JP Morgan. Tenneco was cut to a sector perform at RBC. Verifone cut to neutral at Goldman with a price target of $10. Thanks for joining us on Small Cap Nation, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, check back for the latest news and research on smallcapnation.com, Facebook, and Twitter.